in the digital technologies area, we encompass all the different aspects of IT and computer science. So from the media side of things right through to the computer science and computing side of things. So we have multiple levels within that where we talk about slightly different aspects of IT. So starting at level 1, the introductory diploma in IT, moving all the way through, as you can see, to the top up and degree level programs. So you can join us at level 1, 2 or 3, and then you can continue working through to get your degree with us if you really want to, which is fantastic. So we'll start by looking at the level 1 introductory to IT, and this is designed for those of you who are getting sort of grade 2s at GCSE level, and it's really sort of an introduction to the college lifestyle and getting yourself ready to sort of work at a higher level in the college whilst studying IT and computing technologies in there. So on the course, there's lots of different bits and pieces that you'll study. So you'll study some spreadsheets, some digital graphics, some animation, some web design. There's a few bits of databases and things in there as well. But alongside that, you'll be working with others and getting organized and just generally getting yourself ready for the next level in your IT skills. Generally, we sort of have a class size of around 12 to 15 in the level 1s. So you do get a lot of good one-to-one time with your tutor, and they will be able to give you a lot of sort of help here and there throughout the course there. So if you come to us at the level 1, you will get a lot of support, and you'll have hopefully slightly smaller class sizes so that we can give you that support as well. So hello to all of you that are just popping in. We're going to continue moving through the slides, but if you have any questions and you think you might have missed something in this first couple of minutes, don't worry, you can ask, and I'll jump to answering those as we go through. So the level 1 is all coursework based. There are some exams at the slightly higher levels now, but on the level 1, you come join us, all you're doing is coursework, no stressful exams in that one for you. There is a level 2 qualification, which is sort of GCSE level. This is where you're getting grade 3s or higher, sort of 4 GCSEs at that level. And this is where you're sort of getting into the real nitty gritty of IT, really. So we're talking about sort of robotics, databases, web design at a higher level, proper programming skills, alongside sort of networking and computer componentry and things like that. So you will get to use our dedicated Cisco lab in the level 2 qualification, where you get to take apart computers and you get to network them together, working sort of generally in teams. Obviously at the moment that's a little bit more difficult, so we do have, there's 192.5 computers in the lab last time I counted, so that you can take those to bits and you can put them back together, and you can sort of learn how to sort of build computers within that quite well. The general sort of idea of the whole course, though, is again to try and give you a bit of everything to do with IT, so that you can then progress on and specialize at a later point. The class sizes, again, sort of anywhere from 12 to about 15 students, and again, giving you the good one-to-one time with your member of staff. Slightly different atmosphere to being in school. Obviously, you've not got 30 different people sort of fighting for the teacher's attention, trying to get the help and the work there. So you should get some good one-to-one time in all the different bits and pieces. The robotics, we use Lego Mindstorms, and we've got some other, they're called humanoid robots, so that you can program and get them to do different bits and pieces. So that's using like a Blockly type code, where you drag and drop it's almost like a jigsaw puzzle, where you drag and drop them together and they click together quite nicely, and then you tell them what they're going to do. It gives you an idea of the basic structures of programming. There is an exam on the level 2 course. The exam is sort of well-rounded exam that covers all the different bits and pieces that you'll learn across the qualification. And then there is the level I'm in charge of, which is the level 3 extended diploma, and this is the first of them that is a 2-year course. The previous 2 are 1-year courses and allow you to then progress on to the next course. This requires you to sort of enter with 4 GCSEs at grade 5 or higher, and is equivalent to having A-levels once you finish. So this, across the 2 years, you have 13 to 15 units, 2 exams per year, and it encompasses, again, lots of different bits of the IT world that you'll be working with once you've got the qualification. Much more in-depth knowledge needed to get through this one, but that's the joys of the level 3 qualification. We'll be teaching you to web design or network or use data modeling techniques in a much more in-depth way, so that you'll be more ready for the world of work, so that we can prepare you for the exams and bits and pieces that come up during the 2-year course. So in the databases units, you'll be using Microsoft Access. Some of you might have come across that whilst you've been in schools or on other courses that you've done. But you should be doing it at a much sort of more basic level when you're in schools. When you get to college, you'll be doing multi-dimensional queries, you'll be doing multiple tables, you'll be doing lots of quite advanced things in your databases. You may even compare that against other technologies sort of in the SQL realms. So you might talk about MySQL as well as the Access databases. In web design, you'll be building websites not using Dreamweaver necessarily like you will have done in school potentially, or Weebly or Wix or something like that, where it's drag and drop. You'll be hard coding those websites. So you'll be writing the HTML, you'll be writing the CSS, you'll be writing the JavaScript, all the different bits and pieces that build up a website you'll be doing in a code-based way to ensure that when you get into the world of work, you can hold your own against the people who've been there for a long time doing that job. The networking side of things is, again, in our dedicated Cisco lab, where you get to attach the computers together and create a business network for the different scenarios that you produce. So you might be told that there's a new web design company out there that's looking to extend their computer network, and you've got to then build that computer network within a set amount of time, providing different ideas for hardware that you might have on there, different printers, different computers, different network switches, as well as ensuring that the technologies are up to snuff with what they've asked for. So you might find that you recommend things like Cat6 cabling versus fiber cabling. And if you've ever looked at your broadband speeds and things, you can see the difference between the two. You'll see on screen it says social media as well. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean you get to play with social media and chat to all your friends all day. What that means is you'll be doing a unit based on how businesses use social media to aid them in their endeavours to sell more products or to get more people coming to their sites or to their different businesses. You'll be analysing social media posts and looking at how you can run your own social media campaign to ensure that you get these increased numbers of sales or these increased customer flows. It's a really interesting unit where you get to download and analyse previous posts and then run your own social media campaign for a theoretical product or business, but you can also potentially do it for your own. If you do have a business idea or a product that you'd like to sort of start thinking about launching, then there's no reason that we couldn't mold that into something that's more related to what you want to do as well. The data modeling units is about giving you the skills and sort of in spreadsheets and in, again, database related subjects, so that if you don't necessarily go into IT for one, you could sidestep into something else where spreadsheets are used on a daily basis. And anyone that's worked in an office for for 10 minutes, they'll be able to tell you that they are that a big part of every office is spreadsheets. So the data modeling techniques that you'll learn in that will be transferable no matter what you're going to do, even if you choose to not stay in IT afterwards. And then the big one that everyone's always excited about, games development. You'll be building games in either Unity, Greenfoot, or Game Maker, depending on the level of sort of ability that you've got and the level of independence that you show. You'll be able to use different amounts of these different softwares to create games at different levels. So it could be that you do a 2D scroller type game where you're platforming across different stuff, a little bit like Mario, right through to a more 3D based game that you develop across the year. Obviously, there are other units within there, but it does depend on how well people do in the first year and their interests across the first year before we decide what to put on the second year. But the first year always looks generally like that on there for you. So there are obviously some potential careers that you could go into within IT. There's lots of different IT related ones. So if you're choosing to go down the network and hardware route, you can be desktop support. So you'll be first line, someone calls and says that there's a problem with their computer within the business, you go out and help them fault find that issue. Network support being the next sort of level up, where actually you don't necessarily go out to everyone's call outs, but you are there to support the network and ensure that the network is running as smoothly as it can be. Generally slightly higher paid, but sort of the next step up in there. And PC repairs and building is generally considered more of a going out to individual homes and things like that to fix and repair their PCs at home. The developer side of things, you've got programmers and web developers and e-commerce people that all use some form of coding in their day-to-day jobs. The pay you get for these varies wildly depending on whether you're a junior programmer versus a web developer versus an experienced end user, but they're generally very well paid from a starting point and require you to sort of have quite good analytical skills as well as mathematical skills, along with the knowing how to program as well. And then the creative side of things, again, web designer falls into this category because you have the person who actually does the front end, the pretty stuff on the websites. You have the graphical designers using Photoshop, Illustrator, things like that. And you see CGI and 3D modeling experts. So those are the kind of people who create the 3D models for the games that you might be creating. So there's always assets in there. The characters have to be designed by some form of artist. You might be one of those kinds of people. And then the sort of, oops, gone too quickly there. The more business side of things, where it's not necessarily directly IT related, but the IT skills will absolutely help you in this. You can be a business analyst or working in management information systems where you're controlling information flow around how it works in a business, and generally they use databases to do so. Obviously your office skills that you'll develop across the time just naturally will come in handy in any job that you'll ever be in, and the increased use of social media is a massive part of marketing and a massive part of every business, including a school or a college now, to advertise what's coming up and what they're going to be doing with their next sort of 6 months to a year's worth of marketing materials. The resources in the department are generally very, very good. We have lots of up-to-date equipment. So because we're IT, obviously the IT industry moves so quickly, we need to try and keep on the ball with things. So we have a range of different i7 and Ryzen processors. So we're rocking the Ryzen 3 processors at the moment. We're looking at trying to get some newer processors in. Unfortunately, i9s are a little bit out of our reach. but they are the top end, and we don't need anything like that because of the levels of things that we're doing. We have a range of GTX and RTX graphics cards, along with some of the AMD equivalents as well. And again, the fully networked Cisco lab, which I've mentioned multiple times now, we'll have a look at in a moment as well. Dedicated creative suites where we can do Photoshop, Illustrator, 3D modeling, where we've got fairly heavy duty machines that have got decent RAM and the higher end graphics cards in there so that they can render things quite nicely, quickly. We do have a good external resources set up as well so that you can remotely access all of your resources that you'll be using within the college from home. So not just giving you a flat file and sending you on your way. If we do ever have another lockdown, you can actually access your work properly. You can access our hardware so that you can run the software and programs that you're supposed to be running on our machines rather than on your own. Also using Google Classrooms and having proper interactive sessions similar to this, but more interactive because you'll be able to talk back and actually chat back with us, and we'll be collaborating across wireless sort of remotely accessed sort of worlds. We do have multiple HTC Vives, Oculus Rifts. We have the original Vive, we have the Cosmos, we have the original Rift, 2 of each of those. We have a few more that I can never remember the names of as well in there that you get to use within your games design stuff. You get to use potentially in a bit of free time as well there. We also have a range of Raspberry Pis and 3D printers and bits and pieces that come into some of the units as well. So if you're designing something in your 3D modeling unit, we could potentially print it out using the 3D printers. We also have the Raspberry Pis that you can program and potentially move into helping you out in the robotics section of some of the units as well. You can see a picture here of some of our networking labs. So underneath the desk there, you can see there's lots and lots of machines. I know it looks a little bit messy, but there are, like I said, 195.5 machines under there at last count. And those are the ones that you can strip down and rebuild and build again and break and fix and rebuild. And they're designed for you to learn how to build a computer in a safe environment and not have to worry about the componentry inside, because every year they're donated to us by the technicians. And if we break them, they go into a pile of scrap and then they get recycled at the end of each semester. So it's designed for you to learn in a sort of safe and comfortable environment that you don't have to worry too much about. And on the right hand side, you can see one of our network switch cabinets looking a little bit messy after our students got let loose on it, but that's the whole idea, is that you get to know how to use the network switch racks and actually work out how to connect computer A to computer B to computer C and get them to communicate effectively between each other like you would in a big business environment as well. So timetables, a big important bit of information for you there. It's generally 1 day to study from home on your course. Depending on what level you come in at, it may change slightly. So you might find that if you come in at level 3 and you've got no GCSE resits, you might even find that you've got 2 days where you're not in actual lessons, one of which potentially would be taken up by your work experience, one of which would be a study day. And I do mean study day. It's not a, oh, I've got the day off day. It's a, I'm going to get my homework done day, hopefully. Most of your courses, if you do your vocational with us, will allow you to access most universities. There are the Oxford, Cambridge type universities that potentially wouldn't accept you with the vocational, but 99% of universities will accept you. So if you were looking to go to university and get your degree, those are still in reach if you do your vocational courses. We also offer HE courses, so HNC, HND, and the full top up to a degree now within our department as well. So if that's something that you're interested in doing, then you can stay with us for as many years as it takes to get to there. You are expected to do some work outside of college as well. So this might not just be homework that we set you, but this might be you doing some of your own learning. So choosing to do a bit of programming externally, having a look at Code Academy or having a look at lynda.com or something like that, to ensure that you're well-rounded in your learning, not just learning exactly what we're teaching you, but you're learning around the subject too. So we'll be saying, here's this much knowledge, we want you to go for lots and lots more knowledge on top of all of that as well. So you will be expected to do some learning outside of class. This does include some of our homework, but it does include extra to the homework too. 97% attendance, it says there, is what we expect of you. Now, 97% is our minimum acceptable amount before we start getting on your case about it, before we start asking questions and wondering why you're not in college. Obviously, 100% attendance is the way forwards. That's what we want from you. But 97% is the minimum acceptable level of what's expected of you. And if you can get above that, then brilliant. The college day is 9:15 till 4:30, 4 sessions a day, each session being an hour and a half. You have an hour for your lunch, and you have a 15-minute break officially in the morning. And generally in the afternoon, we do give IT students a bit of a break too, because obviously staring at IT equipment all day isn't great for your eyes and things. So we do like to give you a bit of a break before your last session of the day too. So have we got any questions? If you do have any questions, you can pop them into the chat box and I'll see what I can answer. And I will also go through some of the frequently asked questions. So I'll give you a chance to ask me some questions if you'd like, and we'll see what you come up with. And if not, I'll go through some of the frequently asked questions for you. So we've had one, if your GCSE grades are lower than predicted, can you still get on the course? Absolutely, you can still get on a course. It may not be the course that you necessarily wanted to go for straight away. So perhaps you were aiming to be on the level 3 course and you were looking to get your 4 GCSEs at grade 4 or 5 GCSEs, sorry, at grade 4 or above. And perhaps you get a couple of those slightly lower. You might start on your level 2 and then work your way up to the level 3, or you may find that you just mess up on your GCSE English and it's only 1 grade below, and then we might allow you to do your GCSE English alongside your IT qualification there, meaning that you can still do that as well. You don't officially need to buy any equipment, but you should have some good equipment to, or at least some IT equipment to be able to do your homework on. So as long as you can do some word processing at home and you can access the internet, that's about as much equipment as you really need. It is good to bring a pen with you because you will be expected to take notes in certain lessons. And it's also not necessarily the greatest way to take notes on a computer because of the room layout in our rooms. You may be turned away from your computer whilst we're talking to you. Therefore, a pen and a bit of paper is just a much more efficient and effective way to take those notes. You don't have to find your own employer for work experience, but it is much more beneficial if you do find your own employer for work experience, because then it's tailored to what you want to do with your future. So if we obviously blanket find everyone the work experience, then the work experience is tailored to what we've decided, not to what you decide. So therefore, you might find that you are going and doing something that's related to databases when really everything you want to do in life is to do with web design. And it's not going to be as beneficial to your future that way. So it's much more effective if you find your own, but we will help out and try and find them with you as well. So, another commonly asked one is, do you need to have computer science qualifications to get onto the courses, or IT qualifications to get onto courses? We do not expect anyone to have any IT or computing qualifications necessarily to get onto the course. Obviously, they will be helpful, but we will teach you at whatever level you are joining us at. So if you've got no skills since year 8 or 9 in IT, that's fine. We don't expect them at the start of the course. We make assessments obviously over the first few weeks and see where everyone's at, and then we teach to that level to begin with, and everyone then joins us on the learning curve to learn a little bit more about IT across the years. There are many different extracurricular activities within the college, and within our own department we also have a couple as well. So we have the gaming club that was running every Tuesday and Thursday at one time. Unfortunately, at the moment, due to COVID restrictions, we've had to shut that down because the groups was too big because of the obviously the popularity of a gaming club meant that it was very big, so we had to shut it down due to the COVID restrictions. We also have an esports league that we enter each year, but again, at the moment, because we haven't got very many computers available to us because of the restrictions and the distance between people and the mixing, we aren't running that at the moment. But hopefully by the time you guys come, all this will be over and done with, and we'll be able to get back to normal and have those running again. What form are the exams in level 3? Are they SAR lab based? So the exams on the level 3 qualification, there's separate exams. So one of the exams is a controlled assessment. So that is where you have to create a database. You have 5 hours across 2 days to create a database that has been specified by the exam board. And obviously that makes up, so it'll be 2 hours on one day, 3 hours on another, with a bit of a break in between the 3-hour session as well. The other exam is a multi-choice online exam. So that's the 2 exams in the first year, and in the second year, again, they are similar to that. So you've got a multi-choice with some small short answers in there, and then you've got a more controlled assessment, which is about designing and speccing up a theoretical network. I hope that answered your question there, Ben. Just having a look through the other frequently asked questions. So there is also additional academic and out of class support for those who need it. So if you have any learning difficulties, disabilities, health problems, or have had any extra time at school for any reason, we can organise to help continue that help in college. There is parking on site for those who can drive, and once you learn to drive, you can buy a parking permit for parking on site. There is limited parking, so if everyone is learning to drive at once and we have a particularly busy day, you might find it's quite a busy car park, but generally we have we have enough spaces for all students and staff to park, so it's not too worrying. And it's I think it's 25 quid for a student to park for the duration of their course. So that's one way you can get to college, but we also obviously run service buses and buses with Arriva as well to get people to college too. So I think we've covered most of the questions that normally come up. So unless there's anything extra that's pressing on anyone's mind, you can pop it in the chat now and I'll try and answer, or I think we'll call it a day at that. If you do have any other questions and they pop up after we finish this meeting, you can contact the college. I believe the email address is on your screen there, info@selby.ac.uk, or you can contact our department or myself directly. So I'm Tom Gabriel and my email address is gabrielt@selby.ac.uk. You come directly through to me if you've got something about the level 3 you'd like to ask. You'll get a quicker answer there, or I might be able to pass you on to someone else. So thank you all for joining this session, and hopefully see you all in a few months' time when you join Selby College.